Hi everyone, welcome back to Lightsabers and Good Vibes. My name's Richard, I'm your host. You're very welcome. It's nice to see you all. So, it's been 20 years, but it's finally coming back onto the green screen, on the big screen. Revenge of the Sith, 20th anniversary. Yeah, it makes me feel very old. Let's see, I'm 57 now, so I would have been 37 when I saw it. Can't remember exactly where I was when I saw it, but um, it's the difference is it's going to be coming back with 4DX effects. I've done a bit of research on that because I wasn't familiar with it, and it's basically like you're in your own theme park when you're in the seat. It enhances all the visual effects, wind, heat, smell, movement sensation. Apparently, it's in Ireland, I believe, and there's somewhere in London. I think it's the O2 in London in the Cineworld there that do this effect. Other than that, it's in the US. Yeah, so 20 years of see it starring Hayden Christensen, who is seduced by the stories. He's well, if you're not familiar with the story, I'll just reiterate it for you. Um, yeah, so it's Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, and Hayden Christensen. Takes place years after the onset of the Clone Wars. So this is one of the prequels to the first one that came out, Episode 4, A New Hope. Um, the as it says, when the noble Jedi Knights lead a massive clone army into a galaxy-wide battle against the Separatists, when the sinister Sith unveil a thousand-year-old plot to rule the galaxy, the Republic crumbles, and from the ashes rises the evil galactic empire. Jedi hero Anakin Skywalker sadly is seduced by the dark side, um, and seduced. He becomes Emperor Palpatine's apprentice, Darth Vader. That's the whole story behind it. If you weren't familiar with it, um, yeah. So what's happening is, according to the announcement, the film will be run in the US theaters and select international territories for 1 week only, and will be available in several formats, including for the first time 4DX. 4DX features high-tech motion chairs that sync with over 21 effects, all designed to complement the narrative of the film. So, one thing I will say is if you suffer from motion sickness, it's probably not a good idea because part of the effect does have that effect on you. Um, but if you're okay with that and you're okay with um, the effects of maybe heat and wind and maybe mist or wetness or rain, um, then enjoy it. It's something I've not experienced, but when I went on the Rise of the Resistance Disney World, that's probably the best ride I've ever been on in my life. That incorporates every effect known to man, but that's a different thing. That's not a film. That is an immersion in a story um, within a theme park. Two different genres, really. This one, but yeah, 20 years, 20 years. It's incredible. Can you remember what you were doing 20 years ago, or can you not even remember what you were doing last night, as most people uh, tend to answer, don't they? Um, So I'm looking forward to that. The other news is let's, let's find it again. Um, yeah, Lucasfilm have announced this morning after the Hollywood Reporter. Shout out to the Hollywood Reporter. Um, and others reported that longtime Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy was going to step down and retire by the end of the year. Interesting decision. Is it the right decision? Is it the wrong decision? Obviously, you have your own choice, your own thoughts on that. My thoughts are I'm saddened because although I never met her, um, I've seen enough interviews with her to know that she's a nice person. Um, and she really cared for the Star Wars franchise. Um, but she's stepping down for um, whatever reason. I don't think they've actually declared what the reason is. Um, but I wish her all the very best. But yeah, it's sad because she brought she brought rather a lot to the table during meetings, and she was a really good ambassador, in my view, for the Star Wars genre. Um, Whenever you had um, things like Star Wars weekends, where you had, in Anaheim and in Orlando, you had the meetups, and you had like so John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Harrison Ford, Luke Sky, Mark Hamill, and you had um, I distinctly I remember one just before they showed the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker. I remember Ian McDiarmid, who plays the Emperor. Um, he suddenly appeared on stage to a huge ovation, and do you remember what he said? Let me just do this because I have to. Alexa, lights off. Alexa, spare room off. So it's got to be done. Sorry, it's got to be done. I'm talking about the Sith, so it's got to be done. And he says, "Roll it again," in a slightly deeper voice. Roll it again. But if you remember that the reaction, and I think it was in Anaheim and also in Orlando where they showed the trailer. Fantastic! It was a super occasion. But yeah, make of that what you will. So Kathleen Kennedy departing, and yeah, 20 years since Revenge of the Sith. Makes me feel old, but I haven't seen anything that would suggest that they're apart from this coming back on the screen. I haven't seen anything that would suggest that they're making anything else. And I wonder what's going to happen. What's going to happen to Lucasfilm? Um, what's going to happen to the franchise? Who's going to take Kathleen Kennedy's place? Have any of you heard anything? Do any of you know out there? So it's going to be interesting. But if you're a Star Wars fan, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me. I've done a lot of looking. Can't find anything concrete but I don't think they're actually ready to do anything with it yet. Um, but looking forward, I hope they don't lose sight of the Star Wars franchise altogether, because it means a lot to a lot of people, including myself, who remember when the first film came out. I was So let's see, 1977, I believe it was, when it came out. Yeah, I was 10. Yeah, I remember going to see it. I still remember the crawl, the very first, episode 4, and I remember sitting. It was a nice memory, sitting with my brother and my mum, and the crawl went up the screen. My mother was reading the crawl, was reading it all back to us, and then you got that incredible shot, didn't you, where you see the starfield, and then you see Princess Leia's um, spacecraft, and you see the Imperial destroyer firing upon it. That opening shot that probably changed the way we all look at films forever. It really did, because within that sequence you had so many special effects that hadn't George Lucas had to create himself. And if you look at a lot of the interviews about that opening sequence, people were tearing up in the cinema. It was that good, but obviously because no one else had done it, they didn't know what to expect. They thought lots of people were very negative about it. And then, well, we're now 2025, and for me, without, oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Without those sort of effects, you wouldn't have any of the films you have today. George Lucas and I think others like Steven Spielberg invented them, built their own cameras. So a big shout out to George Lucas. We owe you a lot. We owe you a lot. That was it really. I just wanted to talk about the fact that it was 20 years old. How many of you have seen it? How many of you remember it 20 years ago when it first came out? Had to do it with the lightsaber. Sorry, couldn't resist. But yeah. So also, I wanted to say that I'm not losing on my channel. I'm not going to lose sight of the fact that it's about Star Wars as well. That's one of my passions. As well as Disney and everything else that I do. It's all about good vibes and having fun. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. As usual, be kind to each other. Go out into the world and do something nice for somebody else, because kindness always repays kindness. And even though I do hold a Sith lightsaber in my hand, I'm not one of the Sith. May the Force be with us, or something like that. May the Force be with you guys, and please keep those questions, by the way, coming for the up and coming Q&A. I've got a couple so far. Please keep them coming. I reckon I need about maybe 3 or 4, and then I'll be set to film another Q&A, which I'm looking forward to. Okay, that'll do it for this one. If you enjoyed it, if you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, Lightsabers and Good Vibes. I'm growing slowly and steadily. If you like this particular video, I enjoyed making it. Please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. May the Force be with you. I'll have to turn this off again because it won't turn off by itself. Take care. See you soon.